Some places have said, oh, we're bringing everyone back, and now they're in a state where there's a spike and they've already rolled that back, right? Other universities have said we're doing online only. The problem with that is because of Trump's latest mandate that international students have to take a certain number of in-person classes. So at a place that's only offering online classes, those students can't get visas to return without them. So
Cool.
I'm a visiting assistant professor of neuroscience. I came here in the fall. I started.
Of 19.
Of 19, that's right, yeah. Seems like a while ago. I got 2 terms of sort of the regular experience, teaching in a classroom in a small liberal arts college, and then I joined the great online learning experiment, as we were calling it, basically because we had no idea what was going to happen, and we were all just doing this big experiment. So this whole online thing is something that people talked about for a long time, and oh, we should incorporate more things and stuff. And so at the end of our winter term, let's say beginning of March, right? That's when the college decided to ask students, or they told students that they couldn't come back, right? Because we're basically like a cruise ship here. And so we kind of started talking about, well, it's going to be distance learning, but it'll be like you're in a classroom, people are going to Zoom, and it was just like you're just going to be teaching the same, in the classroom with a camera, right? And then it very quickly changed into there's different access that people have to technology, like we're on different time zones now, so we had to redesign all our courses to be asynchronous. So it's like most stuff happens on your own at home, and then we would like get together for a class meeting. I spent usually 12 hours a day, I would say, just sitting at the computer between preparing. So it was the first time I taught the class, and I had a lab course, which I designed all the labs. They were all experiments, and so that had to be like redesigned and redone in a matter of
How do you do like the cat dissection from
Yeah.
So that's a real question though. What's your over-under on the efficacy of virtual teaching?
Well, I think we learned a lot from doing it in the spring. Enough so that I think that the next time we do it, it will be much better, and students will get much more out of it. I would rather be in the classroom. I bet if you ask any teacher, would you rather be in the classroom, they would say yes, right? Under normal conditions.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
I don't think we're going to have normal conditions. In that case, it actually gets in the way of teaching under the kind of conditions that are required for COVID. So I think that actually doing stuff online makes teaching easier.
Is that like trying to lecture through a mask or,
Yeah, so like a lot of stuff I do is team-based learning. So I split the class up into groups, and they spend a lot of time before class studying, learning material, and we use class time to explore problem sets and case studies, and they work together to do problem solving. So imagine now you want a group of like 4 to 5 students to work together on something. They have to be 6 feet apart, they're wearing masks, they can't touch each other, they can't like draw on a board together. So we're talking, well, maybe we can have them all work on a Google document together, so at that point,
why are you in a classroom if you could just,
Yeah. So I don't think, like, the technology I don't think that's the issue. It exists. I think the issues with students, one is, do they have access to the technology, right? Some people don't have laptops that are very new. A lot of people don't have broadband because of where they live. So there was just sort of equity of technological access. And the other main difference between being at a college and trying to learn from home is that people have really different home environments too, right? So you can't go to a library where it's quiet. You might be at home, you're taking care of siblings, like
Right.
people are in a lot of different situations that makes learning and focusing a lot harder. And I think that's the same thing with working from home, especially when you have your kids at home. I mean, I can't imagine what.
When I was in school, the online courses were like, click here, advance, don't listen to the lecture, just get a 75 on the test. And most of the online courses that were available to me were kind of pass-fail. So it really didn't matter.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I always thought of online courses too. It's more like a training video than a course, right? But some people have been doing this and expanding online courses, and even some visitors here that do it. And so the course is a lot more than just, watch this lecture, answer these questions. It's kind of what we call the flipped classroom model, where the student takes charge of learning, reading material, watching videos, and then the time where you're together and interacting either one-on-one with the professor or with the class is used to apply the material. So it's become a lot more sophisticated than just like, watch a lecture. Because no one's going to watch a 60-minute lecture. We also knew the content and quality of the courses was not going to be the same. So it made sense to be pass-fail then. And I think because everyone did it, it's not going to have repercussions, for like grad school, med school, all these things.
Sure.
People worry about.
What's happening in the greater education system in terms of campuses reopening? It seems like there's been a lot of news that's kind of going in opposite directions in terms of whether campuses are comfortable reopening or...
It seems like a lot of places, at least at this point, are talking about bringing students back to campus, right? Everyone's reopening for the most part. What that is going to look like is different. And so, I think for many reasons, colleges, universities want to bring students back. Some of that's probably economic, right? Because enrollment will go down. Say, I would maybe take a year off. I think they also there's a lot to be said for the community and what you get out of that. So I can see why people want to do that. I don't know if that's necessarily the best idea, given what we know about how easily COVID spreads.
Anything spreads on a college campus.
Yes.
I'll be the first one to say it as a former college student,
and,
right?
I think you can go in with the best intentions, but living together in a dorm, like maintaining social distance, never having a party or anything, like any kind of gathering, right? You can't do that. Sports, most places, that's hard to see how that's gonna happen, so.
How comfortable do you feel living very close to a college campus if there are potentially lots of students around?
I'm pretty comfortable living close to a college campus. I think am I comfortable spending significant amount of time in the classroom with people in an enclosed room? No. So some places have said, we're bringing everyone back, and now they're in a state where there's a spike and they've already rolled that back, right? Other universities have said we're doing online only. The problem with that is because of Trump's latest mandate that international students have to take a certain number of in-person classes. So at a place that's only offering online classes, those students can't get visas to return without them. So I don't know what places are going to do about that, right? That's another important.
I don't know what a university can do if the university isn't the one that's issuing a visa.
Yeah. Well, you can offer in-person classes.
Sure.
I don't think there's a stipulation about what that has to look like, right? So is there an in-person class where you meet in person with your professor once a week and that counts as a class? I don't know. I mean, yeah.
And at that point, what's the difference, of meeting a person face to face or meeting on Zoom, right? Obviously,
there
it's
is
size, but
a political monkey wrench that just makes the whole thing harder.
So how do you feel about the next term?
I mean, I feel much better about the next term. So I'm probably going to do most of my stuff online, just because, for the reasons I was saying before, like I think teaching in a classroom the way things need to be safe isn't going to be a great experience. The lab is something different, and now I'm redesigning the labs and having it be like takeout, I'm calling it, so the students will come pick something up that they can like build in their dorm rooms, conduct experiments. So like with the time, I think I can figure it out a little bit better. I think that we now have a whole summer to prepare. We've done it once, the students have too, like we kind of know how to bring things to the standard that we would expect. And yeah, so I have no idea what many colleges are doing. I don't know what we're doing here.
Sure.
I don't know what we decide.
Hi everybody, we are heading north in Minnesota and we just passed through Minneapolis, St. Paul. Beyond COVID, Minneapolis has definitely been front and center in the news for a large part of 2020. And I know that I'm not the right person to be talking about racial equality or equity, but I think we can all do our part to at least start the conversation in our own groups about standing up for what's right for all people, but especially the Black community at this point in time.